my wonderful friends, and welcome to today's video. Today I'd like to share a little bit about my story and the reasons of why I'm vegan. I'm on a plant-based diet and have done so for about 2.5 years, I believe. And I absolutely love it. It's been a huge game changer, life-changing for sure. And I just would never want to go back to who I was before. And that was me, a lifelong vegetarian. So I've never ever my whole life eaten meat or fish or sausages. And that's not because I'm from a family that didn't eat meat. My family did eat meat when I was growing up. They don't so much anymore. My mom's mostly vegan. My sister's vegan now as well. But yeah, I grew up not wanting meat or any sort of animal flesh in my mouth. My mom tried really hard, my sister as well, and they tried so hard to put that stuff into my mouth, and I just spit it out. I just really didn't want it. And when I think back to when I was a young child, I just remember, just for one, this huge disgust when I saw meat or animal flesh, other people eating it. And I could not put that stuff into my mouth. It grossed me out so hard and continues to this very day. But also, I never understood why humans ate meat in the first place. Because I saw all these beautiful animals everywhere, and the cows and the dogs and the chickens, and they all were the same to me. It didn't make a difference how big or small they were. If they had a tail or not. For me, they were all animals, and I didn't understand why human beings were eating them. I felt this really intense connection to all these animals from a very young age, and was very aware of the fact that they're no different from me. And so yeah, I couldn't really express that and verbalize at the time to my mom, but she took me from doctor to doctor to doctor. She's like, oh my God, doctor, what's wrong with my child? She's not eating any meat. What do I do with her? And I grew up in Bavaria in the south of Germany, and meat is, it's on everybody's plate every day, 3 times. And everybody was a little bit worried, but in the end, the doctors did all the tests and looked at my blood, and they were like, she's fine, she'll be all right. I did have dairy and I did have cheese and all that stuff until 2.5 years ago. I never really enjoyed eggs very much, so I would have it like in a cake, but I would never actually eat an omelet very much, or fried eggs, or like that in itself also was quite disgusting for me, so I was never very attached to eggs. But yeah, I did like my cheese for sure, and I did like my dairy milk, and now today I'm like, ooh, it just grosses me out to even think about putting dairy milk, cow's milk into my coffee, or eating cheese a lot. Ooh. So times change, and the reason why it's so hard to speak sometimes in front of the camera. The reasons why I went vegan were a bit multifold, to be honest. So for one, I'd always had friends that were vegan, and I always found them very interesting, but they weren't really on a very healthy diet as vegans, because one doesn't really equal the other. And the next thing was that, so I had been toying with the idea for a while, and then I was dating this girl for a little bit, and she was basically a vegan on a plant-based diet, very healthy, and she was running a raw vegan restaurant, and I was very inspired by that and kind of got in touch the first time properly with the plant-based lifestyle on a healthy basis. And then in January of 2015, I did a 1-month yoga meditation retreat in Mexico, and we only had vegan plant-based food the entire month. And then after that month, I was like, I think I'm just gonna keep going, because it wasn't really that hard, to be honest. And I was feeling amazing, and it just overall was just super excited to just be a vegan now. After Mexico, I went to Bali, and I saw all these amazing raw vegan cafes in Ubud and here in Canggu, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I started to discover all this just mind-blowing, delicious, vegan, plant-based, healthy food, and it was like a whole new world for me. At the same time, I started to dig deeper into the reason of why I had so much period pain and some skin issues and digestion issues, and I had done so over the years, but nothing really helped. And then I went to an acupuncturist, and he immediately looked at my tongue, and he was like, yeah, your period pain comes from your liver. So he gave me some Chinese herbs, and we did acupuncture, and that kind of helped. But I also then did a juice fast for a week, and that completely changed my life, because in the beginning I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna do a juice fast for a week and just drink green juices, vegetable juices, and I'm not gonna be able to do any yoga, I'm gonna be low on energy. And actually, as it turned out, I was completely wrong, because that entire week I had so much energy just from drinking juice, and I was super creative and super productive, and I went to yoga every day, and I was like, oh my goodness, so if I only drink vegetable juice, this is how I feel. This is amazing. So after that, I started to embrace a healthy lifestyle even more, and I realized that being vegan doesn't equal being healthy. So I eventually really started to dive deep into a clean diet, and started doing water fasts in Thailand, and just kind of was fully hooked. So I would say, the first main reason of why I got into this is really for health reasons, because I also realized once I started being a healthy vegan, I didn't get sick anymore, my period pain got better, I just overall felt so amazing. I had so much energy, and I still do until today, and I would like to have this energy until the rest of my life, until I die, basically. And so for me, there's no reason to go back and eat shit and eat dairy and all that. So yeah, I just feel amazing on a plant-based diet. And the next thing is also, once you turn 30 and you kind of realize that life doesn't stand still for you, then you also realize, shit, I'm getting older and I'm gonna die eventually. And the more I kind of think about that, the more I'm like, I kind of want to die healthy, basically. I don't want to have cancer, I don't want to have heart disease, I don't want to have diabetes, I don't want any of that stuff. I don't want to suffer in a hospital for years, so I want to grow old healthy and then just die. But basically, that's another big reason for me to be on a healthy plant-based diet. And as for me, it makes sense, like all the research that I've done and all the books and documentaries and videos that I've seen, for me it just makes total sense that a plant-based diet is the healthiest way to give your body all the nutrients and energy that it needs. So yeah, number one, definitely a health reason. I wake up in the morning, I feel awesome, I feel amazing, and that was not the case when I was a vegetarian before. But yeah, like I said, it's not the vegan diet, it's the plant-based diet, it's all the green juices, it's all the clean food, the unprocessed food that I eat, and that definitely makes a huge difference, but I made an extra video up here. The second reason is also very spiritual for me, and also relates to, animals, because as a yogi, is also someone who is very much into Buddhist philosophy, I want to practice non-violence wherever possible, let it be in the way I communicate, or treat other people, or how I treat myself, how I treat animals or the environment. And so for me, like I said, it never made sense to hurt animals, to kill animals, just for me to have something to eat, because there's so many other beautiful things out there that we can eat that are super healthy and that we don't need to kill. I believe every animal has the right to live, and I just love animals. I love animals. I don't know why we make a difference, of like which animals we kill and eat and which ones we don't, and why people get attached to dogs but they don't get attached to cows. I think they're all the same, and so I don't want to hurt anybody for me to feel full. And so I believe animals have rights just as we do, and just because I'm a human being doesn't make me any way superior in the way that we can just kind of control what we kill and what we don't. And the next thing is also quite spiritual actually for me, is that not eating any animals or any animal products like milk or any eggs, it just kind of makes me feel really pure. There were times during those 2.5 years now that I'm vegan where I did consume some dairy or products where there was dairy in it or egg in it, and I don't know, like once you're into this clean eating thing, it's just, you feel everything, and because you're so connected to your body, or I am anyway, also through yoga and meditation and stuff. But what I'm trying to say is that for me, having animal products in my body, how do I express this? It doesn't feel as clean and pure as when I'm only eating plants and fruit. It's almost like when I think about dairy and eggs, it's like mucousy, it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't flow with the energies in my body. And whereas plants and fruit, they do. They're very in tune with the energies that I want to feel in my body and also radiate. And lastly, and that's something that I wasn't even aware of until I went vegan and started watching more of those documentaries and reading more books and stuff, is being vegan, being on a plant-based diet is definitely also the best way for the environment. The whole meat industry causes a lot of issues for the environment, and I believe that's something that's not talked about enough. I'm not too deep into the research, but I do know that meat consumption in itself, and especially when you do it regularly every single day, really contributes a lot to what's going on out there and up here. And I feel like by being vegan, I am doing my part in, protecting the environment, and that also feels pretty good, to be honest. So yeah, these are the reasons why I'm vegan and why it just all makes sense to me, and why I would never go back to being a vegetarian, and I'll never eat meat. Like, I'm 34 now, I'm still not gonna eat meat before I die. I can promise you that, because there's just no point. There's so many beautiful, beautiful ways to eat out there that don't require killing or hurting anybody, and just makes me feel so amazing and so energetic and just full of light. So I'm gonna keep it that way, and for me personally, that's the best way to do it. And maybe you feel inspired to give it a try, go plant-based for 30 days and see how you go. Especially if you have sort of health issues going on, try it out. I'm not an activist. That's not why I'm making this video. I just want to share my reasons, my story. I don't want to, convince anybody, or I don't want to be a missionary for the vegan diet. I just really think it's the best one. And the beautiful thing is more and more people are going vegan and plant-based and healthy, so it's awesome. I also know from reading a book called The Blue Zones that the healthiest, oldest people around the world, people who, they are way more than 100 years old, it's because, and they don't have cancer, diabetes, or heart disease, it's because they mostly spent their life on a plant-based diet, eating very little meat or even none. And so that for me was an eye-opener when I read that book, actually. So this is all I got for today, and I'd love it if you shared with me in the comments of why you went vegan, how long you've been vegan, and why you think it's so awesome. Maybe you're playing with the idea of going vegan, so let me know if you have any questions or doubts about it. And if you enjoyed my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Thank you. Mwah. Bye.